Hey, listeners, before we get into today's podcast, I want to thank today's sponsors, first of which is Pretentious Pickles, our good friends at Pretentious Pickles, located right here in Plymouth, Massachusetts on 190 Water Street, have a huge variety of pickled items for your consumption. There's pickled beets, Brussels sprouts, carrots, mushrooms, cucumbers, you name it, they've put it in a jar and pickled it. They make a phenomenal product, and for the second year in a row have been won Best Gourmet Shop in the South Shore, Massachusetts area. So congratulations to Lorraine and everyone at Pretentious Pickle Company. And if you can't make it to their store, you can stop by www.pretentiouspickle.com, and you can place an order online, and they'll ship it right to you. If you're into pickles, you should definitely check that out. And our second sponsor today is Hellofresh. Do you feel like you're stuck in a dinner rut? With Hellofresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on Hellofresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less with over 25 recipes to choose from each week. There's something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure delicious and simplicity. And I was just over there on their website checking out what they have to offer. And I'm telling you, it's making me super hungry. We have a prosciutto wrapped chicken, which I'm such a sucker for prosciutto. Chicken over garlic parm, which looks delicious. And even a beef tenderloin and brown butter veggies. There's a lot to choose from over there. It looks fantastic. And today they're offering our listeners a discount. You can go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit. Welcome back, Inebri-arts. This is Andy, the Inebri-art podcast, and COVID's not going away in neither of these Zoom interviews. We've been getting too many cool people on, and today is no different. I have today with me Olivia Morreale.
Oh yeah, baby.
Did you hear the question mark at the end of that? Like, I was totally not sure I was going to get that right.
Right. Nailed it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We've been doing this podcast 5 years now, and we're like 250-ish episodes in, and we get a lot of PR people that reach out and just whatever news bulletin they have to send out. And I have to say that, like, yours came across my email, and I went to the YouTube channel and started listening, and I'm like, damn, this is something that I spent the rest of the day kind of like listening to your music on YouTube. Like, I really enjoyed it. You have like a really, like, I was trying to explain to, I was at a friend's for like a little fire pit drinking thing last night, and I was trying to explain your music, and it reminded me kind of like of an Adele, Amy Winehouse, smoky jazz club voice. I mean,
yeah.
Is that fair?
That's fair. Yeah.
I was really digging it. So how did you, I mean, is that kind of what you always wanted to do? Was that kind of style, or did that evolve?
I think I was singing jazz for a lot of years and still do that. And I study jazz and stuff. So I think that's sort of been like my vocal upbringing in a lot of ways, is just kind of, emulating sort of like a jazzier style, and phrasing too, I think is a big part of it. Just sort of, not like a really straightforward pop phrasing, like more so of like a, kind of more leaning, phrasing wise. And I think now, I'm making more pop music, but that's something I really value. Like if I'm ever with a producer who's like, oh, sing it more straight, I'm like, oh no.
No, I love that. It's
that's
like
my thing. Like,
like I watched the video, and the video definitely reminded me of kind of like, your standard pop, but like, I'm like, that voice is kind of, it's not pop music. It's that club jazz. I really dug it. And I'm not just saying that. Like I don't.
That's the goal. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So what was kind of like the thing that so growing up, you must have had that moment where you're like, that's it. That's the voice. That's the sound that I want. Like, was a specific person? Were you like singing a song in chorus that you just like connected with? Like, where in your life did that sound evolve from?
Well, my parents always listened to like older jazz singers, so I think I kind of had that in my, and like especially when you're younger, I feel like the songs that you listen to, you really retain all of the, not only the lyrics but like the phrasing and whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of what I listened to growing up was like Ella Fitzgerald and Nat King Cole, and so I kind of just always was comfortable with that music. So like when I went to study jazz, like a big part of being a singer is just knowing, and being being a player too in the jazz world is just kind of knowing tunes off the top of your head. And half of them I was like, oh, I already know this from just deep inside me from when I was young, So I was like, I already kind of have this vocabulary of lyrics somehow. And I feel like in terms of voices, it's more just been like the easiest ones to emulate for me have been the ones that I sort of have, like Amy Winehouse. I'm like, okay, I have a similar timbre.
Yeah.
Sort of naturally. So then I kind of just gravitate, and you're like Norah Jones, Stevie Nicks, like those are kind of my, the singers I gravitate towards because I kind of sound like them. So yeah. And then like writing wise, Amy Winehouse has always been a huge inspiration too, just because she's a little bit like off the beaten path, but also pop. So.
Yeah, she's that weird kind of like jazzy, poppy, but like with a real edge to it.
Yeah.
And I can't. I'm not like a big Amy Winehouse fan, but yeah, it really. Oh, geez, what did I just open up? I opened up a window. I'm sorry. There we go. Oh crap! Oh, I thought I froze the whole damn thing. I'm sorry. God,
No,
a year and a half ago, I'm like, oh, Zoom's great. Now I'm like, damn it, Zoom, be better.
I hate Zoom. Yeah.
It's kind of like a necessity now. But
all the I teach voice on Zoom and like piano and stuff, and I teach kids, and like they know so much more than I do about how to even do it. Still, they're like, oh well, you just put it in the chat, and then it's a shared window.
And you're like, where's chat? Show me where.
Yeah.
And you're like, first of all, you're way younger than me. You should be able to handle this shit better than me. But
like,
yeah. People like changing their backgrounds. I'm like, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my big thing is I still don't get TikTok. TikTok makes me feel super old.
I'm like, damn it. I'm like, I have to do it.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I need to promote the podcast, but I'm like, I don't get it at all.
I know. I'm trying. That's like my new project.
Yeah. So, and then what was it? Someone's like, oh, you need to do Instagram, not shots, screens? No. Reels. Thank you. Yeah. They're like, oh, you gotta do Instagram.
Doing Reels. Yeah. Or like they only care about Reels now because it's TikTok. They're competing with TikTok.
Yeah. It's just like, can't we go back to,
I know.
MySpace?
That's all I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
Take me back to MySpace.
So what have you been doing since like COVID? Have you been, it's so interesting because we started doing Zoom interviews because of COVID. We've been able to talk to way more people than I ever expected. And it's really right down the middle. Were you more productive or less productive during COVID? Because I didn't want to do a damn thing.
Yeah, I was pretty productive, I would say. I had a lot of I spent like a long, I would say 2 months maybe of like really, really working on production like every day for hours a day.
Yeah.
Like that was something that I kind of was not good at before. Like I could kind of make a really shitty demo and like, then I would need to sort of like work with someone to fully produce. Now I can like fully produce my stuff, which is really exciting. And that was like I feel like that only happened because I was so in the zone. And like we were working on these music videos for this EP too during that time. So it was kind of, those are my two big accomplishments of this year is like really becoming a solid producer and then the aesthetic stuff kind of.
Do you feel like you are more productive in a certain like headspace? Um, I was talking about it with someone recently, like I wish you remember who, and it's kind of like, oh, when I'm happy, I don't write music as much. You know, like,
Mm,
do you have to be in that kind? So right now, I'm far more productive,
yeah.
because I don't want to have downtime, so I overschedule myself.
Mm.
Are you that kind of person, or are you more
I think I'm the opposite.
so
I
when you're
think like if
upbeat, you do
I
better?
yeah, because part of it for me now, especially after I sort of shifted my writing process a little bit. So my writing process really used to be like piano and singing and like my notebook and
Hmm.
maybe guitar, whatever. And now I kind of write in the DAW, like I'll kind of write in the session as I go. And to want to do that, like to want to even open like a program as opposed to like, like I don't have a real piano. Like if I had a real piano, I'd probably just be sad writing songs all the time. But now I'm like, it's just I'm opening a session, like it's time to work, and like when I'm ready to work, I'm like, it's because I'm really organized. So I think I'm almost the opposite, but I don't know.
So what do you mean by opening a session? Like you're getting studios time, or
Like I'll open up like the I work in Logic, so it's like the the
okay,
software. So opening
yeah.
up Logic to even just start to record something is like puts me in a certain headspace. So yeah, I don't know. But then I have more, thoughts that I keep for later when I'm sad, I guess. You know.
So do you like make those notes, being like, I'm miserable
Yeah, make
today,
the
write
notes,
about
right?
this, that,
Yeah, I'm
write
like
about this person because I'm sad today, but do that later.
right, journaling.
Yeah,
Taking notes.
but I mean, do you do that a lot? Do you take notes about?
Yeah, I feel like I take notes if like I hear a phrase or I read something that I'm like, oh, that I'll steal it. So I
Mhm.
have like the back. Where's my? I'm trying to find the back page of my journal. This isn't actually a great page, but I've always kind of kept the back page of my journal as like a list of sort of phrases I like. So I have like paper doll. I've been trying to do something with
Yeah,
the idea of those 6 degrees of separation. I use that in a session. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
it's funny. Like friends of mine, like phrases will always come up during conversation. We'll be like, oh, that's my such and such band name, and most recently it's an old term for a bartender called ordinary keepers. And
Really,
I,
that's
and I'm
strange.
like, ordinary keepers is my folk band name.
That is, yeah, that's
Right?
good.
Yeah. So now I'm like, damn, I really want to do that.
There's this page called Depths of Wikipedia. Have you seen this page?
No.
And it just is like random facts like that, like random terms. What's the one? I don't know. They're like like weird cultural phenomenons that were not that big, but it's sort of like an expression you hear. Anyway, I can't even think of any of them now, but it's all stuff like that. We're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. This was like, we were talking about prohibition, and we were recording a podcast, and oh man, what was the other term that came up? It was really, oh man, they were describing like jazz piano, like way back, and it was oh man, I'm not gonna be able to remember it. It was like Tinky Tonk or something like that. Like they're trying to explain the piano.
Oh my god.
It was really funny.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
so was piano your first instrument? Like, is that where you found your love of music?
It was really singing, but I did study piano too. And kind of like and I took piano lessons when I was younger, and then we had a lot of like piano books at my house, so I would just kind of learn to read the arrangements. So like that was kind of how I really learned piano.
Were you like self-taught?
Yeah, I was self taught until I took piano lessons when I was like in kindergarten, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of self taught, and then I did some piano in college too. But yeah, for the most part, I kind of learned it through those like reading those arrangements.
It sounds like you had a fairly music-orientated family.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my mom loves music, so none of my no one's a musician except for me,
Yeah.
but it's definitely happening.
Are they supportive, or are they like, well, you should have a fallback?
They are supportive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I'm grateful because it is definitely a crazier world than I thought it was going to be too.
What were you expecting?
I don't know. I kind of accidentally became a professional musician.
How do you accidentally do that?
Well, I wanted to study classical. I wanted to sing like classical music. But then I ended up getting a scholarship to USC in the
Hmm.
English department. Like I didn't even audition because I didn't really want to go there, but it was like I got it. Like everyone was like, "Okay, have a great time." Like it was like where I had the money, you know. So then I auditioned after I got to school, but it was kind of a roundabout way. Like I definitely thought I was going to be doing classical, singing opera, which
Oh,
is just
really?
yeah, which is just not how it ended up. But I kind of knew, like I was like, whatever music happen. I know I want to do music, but I don't really know. So I was almost expecting to have a life of like very strict auditions and musical theater. I was really interested in too. So that was kind of what I had been focused on in high school, and then when I got to college, it kind of shifted because I moved to LA, so I was like in the pop music world.
Oh, where did you grow up?
I grew up in DC and then New York. My family.
It's just weird to think of someone being like, "Oh, I thought I was going to be a professional opera singer," and I'm like, I know a ton of professional musicians that make a living at music, and none of them are opera singers. Like that would never even
Yeah.
occur to me.
Yeah, well, it was funny because I had studied classical after I did musical theater. I kind
Hmm.
of was like grew up in the musical theater world, and that was fun. But like, I'm not a great dancer. Like, I can dance, but it's not like I didn't have that much interest in being a triple threat.
Yeah,
And then when I found classical music, it was like really all about being an athlete in your voice and like really training your voice really well. And that is also something that happens in pop music, but just in a different way. So that was definitely like a great through line for me too.
and where did that kind of happen? Was that in DC or was that in New York?
There was in New York. I think it might have been in DC. New York was kind of when I started going to like jazz sessions in New York.
Hmm.
So that was kind of when I started to realize like, oh, jazz is also a thing that people are actually doing. I didn't know you could be a pop musician. I thought, to me like the classical route seemed more, seemed clearer and more straightforward, but
It's weird. I live in this a very tourist area, and the number of professional musicians I know that are like they play, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a week,
yeah.
and most of them are doing cover music. It's crazy that you can even make a living just doing that.
Yeah.
So when you're performing, because now you're in LA, you said,
Yeah.
do you play in these smaller kind of jazz clubs? Are they kind of like what you expect, the smoky? I mean, no one can smoke outside anymore. So do they
Yeah.
pump that in? Like, how does that work? I feel
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
jazz club
it
should be
depends.
smoky.
Yeah, I definitely do. I feel fortunate to be kind of in the pop scene and the jazz, like more straight ahead jazz world. So like I'll play restaurants and like kind of jazz club stuff. Before the Blue Whale closed, I was like singing with people there, which was really fun. Like, um, and it's cool too because the jazz community is very collaborative
Hmm.
and because the music is really collaborative. So there's a lot more of an opportunity for a singer to be a guest in someone. Like I have a big band gig in September
Oh,
with my
nice.
friend's big band. You know what I mean? I'm just a singing. I'm a guest singer,
Yeah.
but stuff like that is really fun because it kind of complements. First of all, I love singing that music, and also it kind of complements my pop stuff. Like it's hard to only sing originals sometimes. Like I kind of like to have the pressure off a little bit too at times. Because when
It,
I've written and produced everything, I'm like, oh my god, is it going perfect? Like
yeah, and when you're playing in front of a crowd that doesn't know you, sometimes it's easier to have a cover because they'll connect
hmm
with the song way faster than with something
Totally.
of your own.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you talk. I think of I've never been to the West Coast. I think of LA as like the big city,
Yeah.
and you're talking about like connecting with these groups. Like here we have a smaller community. Everyone's interconnected, but it's like the same style of music. Like we don't have big bands out here. It'd be phenomenal if we did,
Yeah.
but I think we had the other night we had a new rapper in town and was like not really.
Fun.
I don't know if it was a big deal, but like everyone's kind of like talking about it, being
Like,
like,
I was
"Oh,
tight.
let's see how that goes," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's very jam band. uh, I can't swing
Yeah.
a dead cat without hitting a Grateful Dead cover band around here. It's crazy.
Yeah. Grateful Dead's great though.
I mean, they're fine, but I don't need 8, cover
I
bands.
need to see a big band. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That is
like
fair.
if it was between me, I'd go see a big band before I went and saw a Grateful Dead cover band. For
I
sure.
feel that. I feel that. I was in a Queen cover band for a while actually.
Really?
It was really fun. I played keys actually. I wasn't even the singer.
Yeah.
But it was there's some really insane rock music. Like that music was hard. I did it. I found the audition on Craigslist.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna do this. They first of all it paid. Like people love cover bands.
They do, and that's the crazy part is that's what pays around here is like
it paid my rent.
Yeah.
But then it also got my chops like really really good because it was right after the movie came out, so it was like we were doing all the songs, you know.
Do you think it helps with your stage performance too, where you're not like that focused on like I don't need to sell the person on this song; they already like the song, so you can kind of focus on more your stage persona?
Yeah, definitely. It's great, and I mean, I think choosing the right covers too is really important in a set of your originals, especially. I feel because
what covers do you like to do?
Usually I'll do. I mean, it really depends. Like it depends on the vibe of the gig.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. So if I'm playing solo, I'll do like, I'll do an Amy Winehouse song maybe, or like a softer. I like to cover like male vocals a lot too. Like what's one we just did an Outcast one with full band. That was great. We did Roses.
Yeah.
So we did Ain't Nobody, and then Roses is a half step higher. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's like have a break and then have it be like huge, and it was awesome because it was Caroline, okay, you think she's mad if I, and like when you hear that, oh shit. So it kind of depends what vibe I want.
I think my favorite covers are the ones that take a song and push it kind of outside of genre.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine has a show down here in Plymouth every Tuesday, and this isn't a knock. It's very much the same thing every Tuesday.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a drunken mess party, and like he'll cover it's just him, and like he'll loop some stuff, and he's got an acoustic guitar, but he'll cover like Little John and the Backstreet Boys, and then he'll like mix in dirty lyrics, and it's just insane and so much fun because it's kind of pushes everything outside of that expectation of what you would think.
Totally. Yeah, I was in this girl band, and we would always do like No Doubt, but then we started doing like, I guess this wasn't even out of the genre, but just anytime you cover a male vocalist as a woman, I feel like people are like, oh shit, like, or anytime it's crossed over, it's like, like we did My Generation, we would do like Jesse's Girl, whatever, stuff like that. It was like, oh my god.
I had a friend of mine last night play me a Miley Cyrus cover of a Metallica song. He's like, check this out, this is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. It's just
is
Miley's,
it good?
Yeah, it's really good. But it's that like how much of it is that novel aspect of a girl singing a Metallica song,
right?
But I mean, Miley sings phenomenally well.
She's so good. That's like the Ariana Grande Thundercat. She did Them Changes.
What? I don't.
Yeah, Ariana Grande covered Thundercat, I guess a couple years ago, maybe.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm thinking of the 1980s cartoon.
Oh no,
and I'm like, what do you? All right.
She can also sing anything.
Yeah, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Is there a song that you want to cover that you haven't quite figured out yet?
That's a good question. I feel like I would like to do. I can't tell if Queen is too cheesy. Like I would like to cover some Queen, but sometimes I'm like I don't know. It would have to be a really really epic one. But
see, I feel like you need to go beyond. Like, you can't do the standard ones like bicycle. Like if you did Bicycle or
it would have to be like a deep cut, but not too deep.
Right. Something that people are gonna know.
Maybe like Fat Bottom Girls would be cool.
You think so? I feel like that's really what's
It is, but me singing it and I arrange it in a
yeah.
crazy way could be singing.
What was the one I'm trying to think of now? I heard it like literally the other day and it's like popped up 3 times since then. I'm like, oh, that's such a good song.
Yeah, don't stop me now.
No, it's not that one. God, I can't believe I'm blanking on this. I've heard it like 3 times in the past like 4 days.
That's hilarious.
I'll probably remember like 2 hours from now and just be pissed.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, I think that's the trick though, is like getting that song that is recognizable, people know it, but you don't hear it all the time. And those are some of my favorite cover bands, the ones that kind of, cover sort of unusual stuff, or put a real twist on it.
Or it's like you wouldn't think, you're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that, but I do know it.
Yeah.
We used to do Sweet Escape. Woohoo! Yee-hoo! You know that
Who's
song?
that by?
Gwen Stefani. But we used
No,
to
I
do
don't know that one.
It's so funny. It has Akon on it. It's like not that great of a song, but it's a bop,
Yeah. And that's so that friend of mine that I was telling you about, he'll always be like, oh, does anyone have requests? And people always shout out the same dumb shit.
Right.
And inevitably someone's always like, Nickelback. And he's like, I'll play it, but you're gonna end up singing it. He's like, because you can pretend like you don't like Nickelback, but you do. and he will play it, and by the end the whole bar is singing along. He's like, I told you all like that song, you just pretend not to.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you know every word?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. Right. Yeah. You've never heard Photograph before. Whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Stop singing altogether. I love that.
Yeah. So what's going on out in LA now? I know with we're pretty much still, everything's wide open and we're trying to, but like, are you guys in lockdown? Like where?
Yeah. So they have masks back again. I was actually listening to the news this morning on the new. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you listened to the Daily yet, but I was listening to the new COVID. The podcast. The episode is called "A New Chapter of Coronavirus," and I was like, "Please no."
I know, right?
It's close the book. But yeah, no. It's so they have masks again, and I guess in bars and stuff and restaurants. But like although people out on the street wearing masks again too. Everyone I know is vaccinated, but it's like it's crazy.
Yeah, pretty much all my friends are and stuff.
Yeah.
And it seems like the unvaccinated are driving this, but they're starting to recommend wearing.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm right there with you. Like, true. I'm kind of like fuck them. That's their fault.
Please, I know.
But yeah, so they're kind of starting to talk about like mask or recommendations. I shouldn't say mandates, and just the number in like 2 days I've seen.
Yeah,
it's probably more than tripled of what you would normally see.
Yeah, it's too bad. I'm hoping that it's. I mean, at the very least, there are so many people that are vaccinated that it's not the same scale, I guess.
Right.
It's pretty bad. We're not going to have the whole hospital beds running out thing, hopefully, and all that, but still.
Were you planning on or hoping to tour at all?
Yeah, well, actually, so I sing background vocals for this artist, Engelbert Humperdinck, who's like this older crooner guy. I don't know.
Engelbert Humperdinck?
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Oh, like the real guy. Oh, I thought I thought it was like a Richard Cheese Pun thing. Yeah, no, I.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes, I sing background vocals for Engelbert.
Oh shit.
Who is still touring that? Like he's really amazing. But he is. We're supposed to go to the UK in November. So I'm like,
oh, I don't know if that's gonna happen, man.
It's gonna happen, but yeah. I know. So we're doing like an East Coast run in October, and then but I've heard the UK is doing great. So
yeah, I always feel like he's like a Vegas guy. Like that's where I would expect to see him.
Yeah, I wonder if we're doing Vegas. I don't think we have Vegas on the books, but yeah, it's wild.
Were you playing on the East Coast?
I think we're doing like Rhode Island, Boston, like New York, stuff like that.
Our area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can let you know. But yeah, and then I want, I'm hoping to get a tour going for my stuff too, but it's kind of in the works right now.
Have you toured like that before, or is this something new?
I've toured, so I've done like my family's on the East Coast, so I'll do like New York and DC shows.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've done a few shows. I did a tour a couple years ago, but it was with my old music, up to Seattle and back. So I've done like little West Coast tours and stuff like that. But I'm trying to get an opener slot. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can, like figure that out soon. So yeah.
Nice. That's cool. That's exciting. Like, have you done any venues that were kind of like a real surprise? You're like, oh, I want to go back there. Or like, I always find the touring aspect interesting because it's kind of mandatory for musician, and it seems like daunting and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I love playing live is like my favorite. I mean, I think it's just the thing that I'm best at.
Yeah.
So for me, like, it's a very fun time. I think venue-wise, I'm trying to think of where. We played some really cool spot in Oregon, I remember, when we went up.
Oregon. Yeah. I mean, I always think of that as the music hotbed of the world.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, vibe-wise, what was that place called? The Hi-Ho or something? The Hi-Hat? I loved that spot. It was like a cool college town vibe. Other than that, I don't know. I feel like the New York venues I played have all been fun. Bowery Electric is fun.
Yeah.
With Engelbert, I'm trying to think. When we play casinos, it's very fun. We played a really cool place in Detroit last year.
It's got to be a real interesting, like, elderly crowd.
It is really interesting. It's a very funny gig. It's like, I mean, I'm super grateful for it. Like, it's really cool to, and as a musician too, I kind of like to have, it's fun to have my artist project, but like I was saying about the jazz stuff too, like it's really nice to have some of the pressure off, but still be able to perform, So
yeah, sure, because it's his show.
Yeah, and like I show up, I do my job, and then we party.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is great,
and you figure if it's an Engelbert Humperdinck show, it probably starts at 4:30, so you're probably out by 7.
No, exactly. It's past our bedtimes after that, but I know.
So if you're,
we're back.
We're back. It's actually not too bad. I was telling you I was having Wi-Fi issues at the office, so I've been doing them at home the last few times. Right. Like the last two I've had on the other side, they've had like major issues like power outages and thunderstorms and whatnot. Oh my God. But like I'm so paranoid because I had so many problems. I'm like, what's wrong now? What am I doing?
Yeah, flickered.
Yeah.
Oh my God, a power outage. That's a hilarious one, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? It happens.
Yeah.
I think my favorite. I was talking to. This was in the height of lockdown, so everyone was staying home, and I was talking to an actress, Kate Linder. She's played the same character on a soap opera for like the past 30+ years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden she starts freaking out, like, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she turns her camera, and she's like, "There's a coyote walking across her porch."
Oh my God.
And I'm like right in the heart of Plymouth, and it's very kind of, woodsy around here. I'm like, okay. And she's like, "What do I do? Is it going to get my dog?" I'm like, you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Like, good thing you're on the phone with me.
We get them all the time.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
They just want your garbage.
I would be freaked out too.
Really? They're not very big.
I guess they're not. Yeah, they're like dog size.
Yeah, like medium-sized dogs.
Yeah.
I used to let my dogs to chase them out of the yard. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So you have some new songs out.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, there are the songs from the EP, and yeah, we kind of started working on them like a couple years ago, and then like I was saying, I worked a lot on production, and we kind of like, I've realized is my process with everything. Like if I start a song, I know it's going to be like a year in the making.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which, it's like, it's good. It just has this like life cycle. Like they really do have this like life cycle where they need to like mature over time. So we kind of started them. I was with my friend Eli, and he was doing a lot of the production, and like, I was doing like vocal stuff, and then we let them sit because the pandemic happened, and he went back to Connecticut, and I was like here doing other stuff. And then I was like, let's release these. Like they're basically, they're almost done. So then I finished the production. Yeah, when the lockdown started, and then same with the videos. Like we kind of just started my friend Amanda and I were like, she's one of my best friends. Like we had been talking about doing a video together anyways, like on just one of my songs. We didn't know which one. But she really always liked Another Moon, which is the one we ended up doing. And then I was like, okay, Eli and I are moving forward. Cause it's hard to like, I've made this mistake before, is like making a video for something before the song is fully done.
Okay.
Just because, it's like right now, I have a lot of friends who are like also trying to make stuff, or they're trying to make video stuff. And I'm like, let's capitalize. Like, I'm very much like, I want to capitalize on this like creative spark that we have.
Right.
So that was kind of what Amanda and I did, but the song was finished enough to where we were like, okay, all I have to do is record like a verse and, whatever. And so we started just shooting around LA in like outdoor spaces because that was like where we could go, obviously. And
like some of them look kind of like rundown buildings.
Yeah. So we literally just went to, like these random abandoned beach towns and like weird spots. We did a couple like shoots in Chinatown that didn't make it in, and she had just gotten a drone, so we were just trying out her drone.
So you're like, let's mess around with it.
Yeah. So and then it ended up being, so then I was like, let's set up a timeline and actually like make this happen. So that was the process, which I wish every process could be that way. But
now, do you like that aspect of the music job of shooting videos, or was it kind of like a pain in the... It sounded like you really enjoyed collaborating with your friend.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I think, like, she is definitely a trusted collaborator now, and so, like, we edited it together, essentially. Yeah. Like, we were doing, like, 3 hours a day for, like, 2 weeks straight, like, at her place doing it, and, like, I love that. Now I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna not. I guess I just won't not do that. But, edit-wise, it's, like, it was really cool to really be, like, part of the creative direction.
Let me ask you the classic creative question, because I feel like now that you have worked editing a video and obviously you work in music, it's that the one issue that everybody has: when do you know it's done? Like, when do you stop working it?
It's really hard. I think the only reason that this project happened was because I had so much space from the initial production we did. On the songs, just the songs, that when I came back and I was like, okay, I'm going to add a little bit more production, that kind of reflects where I'm at now.
Yeah.
It really did feel like I was finishing it up, as opposed to like, what else can I add? What else can I do? So that was like a benefit, because I was like, a part of me was just like, these are songs that are sort of like frozen in time and I don't want to like change them anymore. Right. And then with the video, it was kind of, she texted me the other day and was like, oh my God, I just found this effect. It's like a title. It's like a retro title.
And you're like, it's done already, man. It's out.
Like, we're literally already promoting it. Like, what? Yeah. No. She's like, but I can, if it's on Vimeo, I can redo it. I'm like, no. But it's good. I'm like, next video. We're doing it in the next video. So yeah, that was really hard. It was really hard for me to be like, because we kept pushing to like, and it was just us editing, like we were like, right. It could be better, but like, is it gonna be? No, then okay. Like, after a certain point.
And to me, that's always the like, give me a deadline or don't expect it. Like, if you're like, oh, whenever, I'd be like, cool, it's not ever getting done.
Right.
Like, because I'll never be done. I either won't approach it because I'll be like, oh, I can push that off.
Yeah.
Or I'll never be finished fucking with it, and it's just gonna be.
But the cool thing too, I think, is that like, like we just did a live session for some of these, and I'm mixing it. Like we did maybe 3 tracks. Yeah, so it was guitar, vocal, and piano, and then we played to the track. And I'm like, with this mix, like I've been working on it for a couple of days, but I'm also like, I know it's only getting to a certain level, and it's just going to be a reflection. And I think the world is more open to that right now, creatively overall.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like, so
just do it.
Like back in January, I had a friend that has a store down here in downtown Plymouth. And at the time, there was no live music. Like it couldn't happen. And she's like, we can have musicians here if we close the store after hours. Would you want to live stream it? And I'm like, yeah. And then my partner's like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, we'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah. And it's so weird because we did about 10 of them. We called them the cellar sessions.
That's dope.
And like by the end, people are like, "Oh, the sound quality is so good," and we're like, "We don't know what we're doing. Like we're just fucking around until it seems okay." And I really love that part because it to me that feels like that kind of. It's gonna maybe sound bad, but that kindergarten play where like you don't know what's right and what's wrong, but you're just gonna play with it until it seems like it's fun.
And it's so cute.
Yeah, and it's like if it's fun, then who cares, man? Like like there was one where we had a backup singer step away, and so my buddy like muted her microphone, and then we got sidetracked because our dinner delivery showed up, and so when she came back, her mic was never unmuted. And so then like she finished the song, we're like, oh shit. But it was kind of like we just owned it. We're like, hey, this is live, and made some jokes about it and redid the song. And I think it's that kind of genuine fun aspect that that's I think that's why creative people do what they do.
Literally the point.
Yeah. It's like we're trying to have some fun,
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Where can our listeners go to check out your music?
It is on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's also on my website, www.oliviamorreale.
See, our listeners can't see you doing this like thing with your like you're doing like the posing with your. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's on my website. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I'm pointing to the air. It's for everyone at home.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's on the normal places.
Do you must have like the Instagram and.
Yes, Olivia.Morreale.
Morreale.
That's right.
All right. I can spell it because it's in front of me. So.
Yes, there you go. You should tell me that. Show it off.
No, totally not, because dyslexia is a bitch. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Anytime you have stuff to promote, you're welcome back. And
thank you.
Yeah, when you come this way, we'll have to try and check out Engelbert Humperdinck.
Oh, hell yeah. Party.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be done by 6:30. Woo!
Be in bed by 10. That's
gotta be like an all-you-can-eat buffet attached to that shit, for sure.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, yeah, and I'm gonna actually I haven't set the release date, so never mind. But I do have another music video coming out pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Another song and music video coming out, hopefully in September.
In September? This will probably be going up in September at some point.
Oh, all right, cool.
If you don't have a release date, just email me with the release date, and we'll see if we can kind of, put it in the show notes or something like that. So.
That would be great. Yeah, I'll definitely send you the updates.
Oh, perfect. Please do. Yeah. And for our listeners, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you again next week. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or on Instagram at Inebri-art6. You can email us at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And make sure you listen to the other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network, including Bar Talk, Old Colony Cast, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror Podcast, and our newest one, Theme Park Legends, a podcast about working at theme parks. What else? And we'll catch you again next time.